Hello Braille class. Today we're going to be doing some handwriting, looking at our third letter family. Just make sure you've got a pencil or a crayon or a felt tip, a piece of paper to write on, or you could do it in your purple book if you like to. So the first letter we're going to have a go at writing in our third family today is the letter R. And our sparkle markers go down to his tooth, then over the roof. So the letter R is not an ascender or a descender. So it goes midway, starts midway between your two lines. So let's do a little dot there. So we go down to his tooth, then over the roof. And again, down to his tooth, then over the roof. Down to his tooth, then over the roof. And once you're happy that yours look the same, that they're on the line properly, you can make them a little bit smaller. So you see how mine have gone a bit smaller? Just as neat. And if you want to practice some cursive ones, start on the line, loop up, straight down, round. And again, loop up, straight down, round. The next letter we're going to have a go at writing is the letter N, and our sparkle mark is spray the hose down, then up over the fire and flick. It starts in exactly the same position as the letter R, so about midway. So we're going to spray the hose down, so let's go down, then up over the fire and flick. And again, spray the hose down, then up over the fire and flick. So you can see that one, the tail is slightly a little bit too big. So let's try that one again. You'll try and get them exactly the same size and looking exactly the same. That one's a bit better. And let's try again. Spray the hose down, up and over the fire and flick. When you're happy with those ones, you can go for smaller ones. So doing exactly the same. Down, up, over and flick. If you want to practice those cursive ones from the line, swoop up, down, up over and flick. Swoop up, down, up over and flick. Our next letter that's very similar to the letter that we just did, the N, is the letter M, making the sound And our sparkle mark is munch, munch. So it starts in exactly the same way as the R and the N. We go down, back up, round and down, up, round and down, and then flick. And again, so starting in the exact same position, down, up, we go over, down, up, over, down, and flick. And again, so straight down, munch, munch, and then flick. Then you can make them a little bit smaller once you're happy with them. So you can see it's got a slight tail at the top, but not like an ascender, like a H. And then you can try the cursor. So swoop up, down, and flick. Swoop up, down, and flick. So you want to try and get them exactly the same size and looking the same each time. If they're not, you need to stop, rub them out, cross them out, and do them again for me. Our next letter today is the letter H. And our sparkle mark is hop down the rabbit hole, then jump over the rock and flick. Now a H is an ascender. That means it's starting at the top line, so not in the middle at the top. So we're going to start right at the top so I can show you. Hop down the rabbit hole, so make sure you go straight down there. Then jump over the rock and flick. And again, jump down the rabbit hole, over the rock and flick. So you can see that one looks slightly different to that one. So again, rub it out. We make mistakes sometimes. Straight down, up, over, around, flick, and again, straight down, up, over, around, flick. You can see this one's slightly diagonal. Really important trying to get them straight down. It's quite difficult with this pen. There we go. So you can see here, the ascender is hitting that top. You can see the M here is in the middle of the line. the H is hitting the top. That's really important. And that line is also where your capital letter would go. So say if you had a capital H, that would go straight down, straight across. You can see that also hits at the top line. Now I will show you some smaller ones. So once you're happy with your form, you can make them a little bit smaller. So you see this time I'm imagining, because I'm making them smaller this time, I'm going to imagine that there's a middle line here and the tail is hitting that middle line. And the M here you can see is half of that. And then you can do it joined. So swoop up, straight up, down, over and flick. Swoop up, straight up, down, over and flick. I apologise if you can't see my flicks because my pen's quite thick. Once you've got a pencil, you'll be able to do it even better than mine, even more accurately. Our next one is the letter P, and that's a descender. So this time the tail of the P is going to go underneath the line to hit the bottom of the other line. So our sparkle mark for our P is walk Pirate Pete down the plank, back up and around the deck. So for this one, we're starting halfway like we did the M, like we did the N. We're going to walk Pirate Pete down. It's really important that you go straight down. You're going to hit that bottom line and back up and around the deck. So walk Pirate Pete down the plank, back up and around the deck. Walk Pirate Pete down the plank, back up and around the deck. So you can see the face of the P is sitting on the line perfectly. You can see that my descending tail is hitting the next line. And when I make them smaller, my descending tail doesn't need to go as far. So I'll show you here. So we go down, up and round. But again, the face is sat on the line perfectly. So what we get a lot of when we do a P is this. You can see the face there is not on the line, so that is incorrect. You've got to make sure that the face sits on the line correctly. And then let's have a look at some of those cursive ones. So swoop up, down, back up and round, swoop up, down, back up and round. Our next letter is our letter B, and that's an ascender. So it's going to start right on the top line and go all the way down to the next line. And our sparkle mark is go down to his booties and then bounce around his ball. So we're going to go down to his booties, then bounce around the ball. Go down to his booties, then bounce around the ball. Go down to his booties, then bounce around the ball. So you can see the faces of my bees are sat on the line perfectly. This one I don't think is as good, so I'm going to try and do that one again. Make sure I'm going straight down and straight round. And again, a little bit too round. There we go, that looks better. Then once I'm happy with it, I can make them a little bit smaller. Again, making sure that the face sits on that line, that's really important. Making sure my tail at the top is ascending, not descending. And then if I want to do it cursive, swoop up, straight up, down and round. Swoop up, straight up, down and round. And you can see here my tail there is slightly bigger, so I'm going to just extend my tail. Sometimes it's a bit tricky with this pen to show you exactly how to do it. And our final one is our letter K. So we go down the bottle, loop around the lid and flick out the ketchup. And this is another ascender. So it's starting right at the top, just like the letter B. So we're going down the bottle first. So you can see that here. You can see I've done a straight line. So keep your pen on there. Then we're going loop around the lid. So we come back up, we loop around the lid, we go down and flick out the ketchup. And again, so straight down, back up, loop around the lid and flick out the ketchup. And again, straight down, back up, loop around the lid and flick out the ketchup. And then we can make them a bit smaller, in exactly the same way. So each time you're trying really hard to make sure they're exactly the same. If they don't look exactly the same, that's fine, but you need to correct them to try and make them exactly the same. And then if you want to do it cursive, swoop up, straight up, round, and flick, loop up, straight up, round, and flick. So see whether you can have a go at practicing all of our letters. You might try them bigger at first to make sure they're all looking exactly the same. They're sat on the line properly. Then make them a bit smaller. Then you can try them cursive to challenge yourself. And then you could write some words with those letters at the beginning of them. So for B, you might have bark or but. For K, you might have Kit Kat or kite. So you can write some words with those letters.